Dan, what has it been like being here at South Carolina these couple months?
It's been great. I hit the ground running with recruiting and then trying to learn the offense and install the stuff that we wanted to do. And so it's been busy, but the coaches have been great. The players have been awesome. You can tell that these guys have bought into what Coach Muschamp wants to do, and I look for great things.
What's been the toughest challenge trying to make an adjustment? I know you've kind of hopped around the last couple of years, have had different roles. What's been the toughest one you'd say here so far?
Really, football-wise, it hadn't been tough at all. Like I said, everything's been great. Just getting your family here and that type of thing, that's always hard. This is my wife and basically my son's first ever move. I've been doing it my whole life, so I'm used to it. And it's always tougher on the families because they're the ones who got to come and meet new people. I get here and I have, there's 20 guys on the staff that you're friends with right off the bat, and you're working, and you don't have much time to do anything anyway. So, but I guess that's the toughest thing.
People see what you did at your previous stops, and they think, okay, he's going to do the same thing at South Carolina. The offense is going to take off like a jet. Too much expectation or pretty realistic?
Well, let's just wait around and see what happens. I feel good about the way things are going. I love the players. The quarterback position, I think, is really picking up what we're trying to do. It's not like we're going to change a whole lot of things, but I think the things that we are going to add to it should help. But obviously, we've got to wait and see. That's why we play the games.
What are some of the things that you are trying to add in and want to kind of have influence on from a playbook standpoint?
Well, the things that I know Will wanted to add to it, and the reason he brought me in was the tempo stuff. That's what we were really good at other places I've been at, along with the RPOs, the run-pass options. And it just opens up so many more doors for the quarterback. It makes it tougher on him because he's got to make a lot more decisions, but it really puts a lot of pressure on the defense.
What's your assessment of Jake?
I love him. I mean, this guy, if it was up to him, he would live in this building. I mean, he's up here working out, watching film, studying, just picking your brain. This is the type of guy that you want to play the quarterback position.
How does he compare to some of the other good ones you've had?
I don't like to compare. Again, I want to wait and see how he plays, but when it comes to the work ethic, he's right there with the top guys I've ever coached.
He said you were working on him with some specific fundamental stuff in terms of accuracy. What are those things, and what kind of progress do you think he's making?
It's really footwork is the big thing. I believe that you should never mess with a quarterback's throwing motion. By the time we get him here, if he's not throwing good, then we recruited somebody wrong. So it's big on the footwork, and he's really worked hard at it. Again, he's picking your brain every play and watching film. And the big thing for him is once we get the offense in, because it's hard to be thinking about your feet when you're thinking about reading defense and stuff. So this summer when he's out working on his own, that's when he's got to really work hard at it and to get the fundamentals down.
Dan, you talk about the footwork. I know going into the bowl game last year when you weren't here, they were talking about how Jake liked his feet staggered, and that was something that the old offensive coordinator, quarterback coach wouldn't let him do. Do you have a preference with that, or is it more about making him feel comfortable?
All about feeling comfortable. And I tell those guys all the time, as long as you get the job done, I'm fine. Now, if he were doing something and his feet were a little different than what I like and it's taken too long or he's off balance, then I would fix it. But the footwork that I'm talking about is more while he's throwing, not so much pre-snap type stuff.
When you come in, do you take kind of a crash course in everything they had been doing last year, or do you more look forward almost?
No, it's a crash course. I mean, we're running the same terminology and all the same things that they did last year. A lot of the same plays is what I've run, but it's just called something different. So I've got to, for me, I figured it out for about the last 17 years, I think. I'd run the same scheme, same verbiage and everything. And then in the last 2 years, I ran two different ones. So for an old guy like me, it's tough to learn these things,
How do you feel about the backups? Could you win with Scarnecchia or Joyner?
Oh, no doubt. I think those guys have really come on just in the little bit that I've been with them. Again, all of them are good kids. The guys really want to work hard. These are the type of guys now when you go into a staff meeting, you don't have to worry about getting a memo about guy was late to class, a guy did this, a guy did that. These guys are doing the right thing, and it carries over to the football field.
How is Joyner picking it up, and is it realistic to think he could have some role this fall?
It's definitely realistic. I mean, nowadays guys have to come in and play, and he's a good athlete. Again, he's one of those guys that you got to kick him out because he's over here too much. So he's gonna work hard and try to learn everything. And if it gets to where we only use a limited role for him or whatever it is we have to do, we'll make it work.
How's he picking it up so far?
He's been really good. He's smart, and like I said, he really studies.
How does his style fit into what you've done typically offensively in terms of the athleticism and also accuracy?
Well, my thing is we're going to find out who our best player is, and we're going to fit our style around him. I'm not going to make him fit our style. So if he had to be the guy, then we would tweak some things and make it to where it fit what he does best.
And you could envision a scenario where he does have a specific role that he plays, not as a backup or in situational.
That's way too far ahead to even think about.
What would you like to see in the scrimmage tomorrow from your quarterbacks?
Well, the number one thing is protect the football. That's what our program is all about. So the first thing I tell them is we've got to protect the football. Second thing is we want to make sure that we're running the offense the way it's supposed to be run. If you miss a throw here and there or miss a bad read or whatever, that's fine. But I want to make sure that our guys are getting lined up right. They know what their progressions are, all the different things that we've been talking about, and running the team.
How long did it take for you to realize that this would be a good spot for you?
It didn't take long. I met with Will way before I took the job, and I was just really excited about the way he presented what was happening here with the recruiting, with how they played last year, the fact that you got a bunch of guys coming back, and obviously I wanted to see what the offense looked like, and you can see that they've got playmakers here along with a quarterback who's played. So, and then once I came here to visit and saw the direction of the program with the new facilities, again with the way things are, it's like a snowball effect, and I just see great things happening here.
When you're evaluating high school quarterbacks, what are some of the physical things you look for and maybe intangibles as well?
Well, the big thing is, first of all, does he have a good enough arm to play at this level? That's the first thing you have to look at. Once you see that, then you look at pocket presence, decision making. Is he a winner? I like the fact that, if a guy was 2-9 but he was really good, that scares me a little bit. So, there's so many different factors. If a guy is real big, then he doesn't have to be maybe quite as fast. If he's a little bit smaller, maybe he needs to be faster. So there's all different things that we look at, and you can see just on our roster, we've got several different types of players. But if they're winners and they can help us win football games, let's get them.
What's the key to that RPO scheme, and what makes it successful?
The key is the decision making really by the quarterback, because we've got to decide, is this a ball that I'm going to hand off because the box is soft and we can hand it off, or are they loading it and now where do I go with the ball? And I was telling somebody last night, it's not like the old days where the quarterback gets in the huddle, we call right 46 power O, and he knows all I got to do is turn around and hand it off. That doesn't happen in this offense. Every single play we call a run play, he's going to have some decision to make, whether it's 1, 2, 3, sometimes 4 different decisions based on what the defense has given us.
Is that decision always made pre-snap, or are there times it's made post-snap?
Yep, both.
You said more decisions under your offense. Any idea how to quantify that for us, percentage-wise?
For instance, we call a run percentage-wise.
From last year, from the offense last year?
Well, I don't know about last year, how often they did it, but I know they did some RPOs, but ours is going to be almost every run play. He'll have to make some sort of a decision.
What are your impressions of Brian?
He's been great. I mean, that was another reason when I came here to interview and talk to him, because, I've been a coordinator for a long time, and I hadn't worked for somebody in a long time. And so I was a little leery about that, but once I met him and saw his philosophy, and I felt like he and I could work together really well, and it's been great.
When did you first start getting into RPOs and start kind of believing in them as a base for an offense?
When?
Yeah.
It would have been, I guess it's been about 10 years now. I was a pro-style guy, and I realized that trying to line up in I formation and run isolation play into a 8-man box just wasn't getting it anymore. And so I started studying different people that were doing it, and I could see that was sort of the trend, and was lucky enough to get around some good people and learned it. And then we've tweaked it as we've gone along, and we'll always continue to tweak.
How would you evaluate the wide receiver group on this team and the guys that Jake has through
It's really hard for me to do just because we've been banged up. I've seen on film what can happen, so I'm excited about it. Once we get everybody back, and I guess that will probably be in the summer camp, once we get them back, I'll be able to make a better decision. But like I said, everything I've seen, I'm excited about.
Who were those influential folks with the RPO stuff helping you learn in those early days?
What I did was I actually took a year off and just traveled around, and I went and visited, too many to mention, but just at that time, only a few teams were running the spread, and you had all the way from the spread teams that were running, pass every single down to the ones that were going run every single down with the quarterback running it. And I wanted to sort of formulate my own little plan as to, I wanted to get a mix. I still want a pro-style passing attack, but I wanted the spread-style run stuff. And then RPOs just sort of started coming along. Nobody was even running them when I first started running the spread stuff. And so it started coming along, and we said, well, let's just throw a hitch right here. Let's throw a slant, or let's do this. And it's just sort of evolved into what it is now.
Well, I guess that's got to change how you evaluate quarterbacks in high school, too, over time, because instead of the prototypical 6'4", strong-arm guy in a pro set, you're now looking for other things that make the RPO work.
My thing is, the thing that I tell quarterbacks when I recruit them is, I want a quarterback who happens to be a good athlete, not a great athlete who can throw a little bit. Because I still want, if it's 3rd and 10, I want him to be able to come up and redirect the protection, make sure he's not having to throw hot, look off the safety and throw the dig route backside for a first down. Not just somebody who's going to run around and maybe get you a first down by scrambling.
So what was the biggest takeaway that you got from just working with Nick Saban?
His organization, it's just been the same. I was telling somebody the other day, he does the same thing, and everybody knows in that building what's expected of him every single day. And, Coach Muschamp obviously worked for him for years and does the same thing, so that's why it was an easy transition for me to come over here.
What qualifies as tempo? I mean, how fast do you want to go? Is there a play clock number that you want to hit, a number of plays per game that you feel like you ought to get?
No, because there are times that we're going to slow it down on purpose, so it's all on us. But when we do want to go the fastest, what I tell the receivers and the quarterbacks is, while you're watching the film, because when you watch the film after the game, they start the clip from the time really the ref has set the ball down.
Right.
So you can't really tell how fast we're going just by watching the film. If you see that ref having to sprint to get back to get set up, that means we're going fast. If the film starts and the ref is standing back there just waiting, that means we're not going fast enough. Now, like I said, a lot of plays will tell them we're not going fast. But if we call a tempo play, you should see that ref running out of the film screen.
Dan, can you give some perspective how important coaching in football has been to you, given what you've gone through personally?
Well, my dad was a coach, so this is pretty much what I've known my whole life. And, this is what I do. I've always thought when different things have happened in my life, well, I'm just going to get out of this because it is a tough profession. But I end up coming back because I just love it. And like I said, this has basically been my life. My family knows it, and this is what I do.
When you were with Ole Miss, did y'all ever play here?
No, but when I was at Louisiana Tech, we played, I think, four years in a row or something crazy like that. And we came over and took 4 beatings. There was one actually where it was a close game, but we lost, but we were 0 for 4. So hopefully we can get a bunch of wins and I can get my record up in the stadium.
Anything else for Coach? Did you talk to Bobby about coaching Jake at all? Just because he'd done it for so long?
Yeah, not a whole lot, just because, I always want to form my own opinions of guys, and, I wouldn't do it about somebody else if it wasn't his son, so why would I do about – but he and I meet together every day, so obviously Bobby and I talk a lot about it. But Jake's so easy to coach. It's not like there's issues or anything,
Right.
What are some things you're working on with Jay Urich?
Just, sitting in the pocket a little bit, trying to get him to release the ball a little bit higher. But he's a really good athlete, and he's a guy that we want to see what he can do. I mean, between he and DeCarrion, I want to see both of them can really run. So I want to see if there's some things that they can do, to really stretch the defense by using their legs. And both of them can throw, too. So obviously if you can run and throw, that causes a lot of pressure.
Dan, did it surprise you in that championship game when Nick came out and started Tua in the second half?
No. Everything Nick does is there's a plan, and we knew there was a plan in place.
Anything else? All good?
Appreciate it, guys.